1,800 feet above sea level, where the air is so thin you can barely breathe, where no trees grow, and modern machinery struggles to function. Here, 1,900 years ago, someone moved 131-ton blocks of stone up a mountain and cut them with precision that looks like it came from a machine shop. Welcome to Puma Punku.
It was ancient aliens that went there and first discovered the magnetic property. They took little rare earth magnets and all of a sudden, boom, only with the gray andesite stone.
Where the evidence is undeniable and the explanation is missing. In 1997, two respected archaeologists published something extraordinary. After years studying the stones of Puma Punku in Bolivia, they wrote, "To obtain the smooth finishes, the perfectly planar faces, and exact interior and exterior right angles, they resorted to techniques unknown to the Incas and to us at this time." Let that sink in for a second. Mainstream archaeologists, peer-reviewed research, published in academic journals. Their conclusion? Unknown to us at this time. Not we think aliens did it. Not it's impossible. Just honest admission. We don't know how they achieved this. That's where real mysteries begin. Over the past 7 videos, I've shown you ancient sites that challenge what we think we know. The Antikythera mechanism, a 2,000-year-old computer that shouldn't exist. The 800-ton stones at Baalbek that defy explanation. Nan Madol's impossible construction in the middle of the ocean. Every time, the evidence was real. The questions were genuine, and the mystery demanded investigation. Today we're going to Puma Punku, and this time even mainstream science is saying we don't have all the answers. Let's find out why. Puma Punku sits in the Bolivian Altiplano, about 45 miles west of La Paz. The name translates to Gate of the Puma. It's part of a larger complex called Tiwanaku, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But here's what you need to understand about this location. 12,800 feet above sea level. To put that in perspective, that's higher than most ski resorts. It's an altitude where tourists get altitude sickness just from walking, where the air has 40% less oxygen than at sea level, where trees can't grow because the environment is too harsh. This isn't a convenient location. This is one of the most challenging environments on Earth to do heavy construction work. And around 536 AD, the Tiwanaku civilization built something here that we still don't fully understand. The complex includes several structures, pyramids, temples, courtyards, but Puma Punku is different from everything else at the site. Because Puma Punku isn't just impressive architecture, it's precision engineering. Walk around Puma Punku today, and you'll see hundreds of stone blocks scattered across the ground. Not roughly cut rocks, perfectly shaped, identically formed. Interlocking pieces that look like factory components. Archaeologists call them H-blocks because of their shape. When you look at them from above, they form a perfect H pattern. And they're extraordinary. They're not just similar, they're identical. You could swap an H-block from one area with another from across the site, and they'd fit perfectly. Same measurements, same angles, surfaces flat to within a fraction of a millimeter. Think about medieval cathedrals. Beautiful, impressive, but every stone is unique, cut to fit its specific spot. No two pieces exactly the same. At Puma Punku, mass production, standardized components, interchangeable parts. In 536 AD, the blocks are made from andesite, extremely hard volcanic stone. On the Mohs scale, it ranks around 6 to 7, harder than most steel files, and yet these blocks have perfectly smooth surfaces, sharp 90-degree interior angles, holes drilled with precision that looks machine-made. The drill holes are perfectly cylindrical, not tapered, not rough, cylindrical. Many drilled at precise angles, some at compound angles, entering at one angle, exiting at another. Try doing that with a copper chisel and stone hammer. The flat surfaces aren't approximately flat, they're planar. Put a straightedge across them, no gap, no wobble, no deviation. And those 90-degree angles? Sharp, crisp, not rounded from hammering, not approximate, sharp, the kind you'd expect from a milling machine. Jean-Pierre Protzen and Stella Nair aren't fringe researchers. Protzen taught at UC Berkeley, Their work appears in peer-reviewed journals. They spent years doing experimental archaeology at the site, trying to replicate the techniques. They proved ancient builders could achieve smooth surfaces using stone tools. Some of what we see, definitely achievable with ancient technology. To obtain the smooth finishes, the perfectly planar faces and exact interior and exterior right angles, they resorted to techniques unknown to the Incas and to us at this time. About the 90-degree interior angles, no matter how fine the hammerstones point, would never produce the crisp right interior angles seen on Tiahuanaco Puma Punku stonework. They can explain some of it, but those perfectly sharp angles, the identical mass-produced blocks, the precision rivaling modern machining, those remain unexplained. That's not pseudoscience. That's honest scholarship admitting the limits of our understanding. The largest stones at Puma Punku weigh 131 tons. That's 262,000 pounds. These blocks were moved from a quarry 10 kilometers away, and the quarry is downhill. These 131-ton blocks had to be transported uphill at 12,800 feet. No wheels. The Tiwanaku didn't use wheels for transport. No draft animals except llamas, which carry about 60 pounds each. Log rollers? At 12,800 feet, trees don't grow. They'd have to transport trees from lower elevations to transport the stones. Rope and manpower, each person can pull maybe 100 pounds. To move 131 tons, you'd need 2,620 people pulling simultaneously in thin air. And that's just horizontal movement. Uphill is exponentially harder. The andesite blocks came from 90 kilometers away and had to cross Lake Titicaca 118 miles long at 12,500 feet elevation. They needed boats capable of carrying multi-ton blocks across open water at high altitude. The stones are there. They did it somehow, but we don't fully understand how. Those H blocks aren't just precisely cut, they're identical. When you carve stone by hand, every piece is unique. Variations, deviation, natural inconsistencies. At Puma Punku, those variations don't exist. The blocks are standardized, like they came from a template, like someone worked from exact blueprints. That's modern manufacturing logic. Design, specify, manufacture, check tolerances. At Puma Punku, they were doing this 500 years ago. And the metal clamps. I shaped channels cut into blocks that held metal clamps, locking them together. The metal wasn't just placed in, it was poured. They brought portable smelting equipment, heated copper or bronze to liquid state, poured it into channels. Sophisticated metallurgy at a construction site. The channels are precisely shaped, clean edges, consistent depth, parallel sides. And then there are the drill holes. Throughout the blocks you find holes drilled with extraordinary precision, perfectly cylindrical, consistent diameter, smooth walls. In modern machining, you use hardened steel drill bits rotating at high speed. At Puma Punku, the holes look machine-made, but the Tiwanaku didn't have steel or high-speed tools. They had copper, bronze, and stone. Some researchers suggest copper tubes with abrasive sand. That works. Experimental archaeology has proven it. But the holes at Puma Punku don't show sand abrasion characteristics. No spiral scoring, no widening at entry, no taper. They're clean, smooth, cylindrical, and some are drilled at compound angles. The drill entered at one angle, exited at another. Modern machinists say drilling a perfect cylindrical hole at a compound angle is challenging even with modern equipment. The builders did it in andesite, with Bronze Age technology. Protzen and Nair documented this. Their conclusion? The technique remains unclear. Remember what I said at the start? The evidence is undeniable, but the explanation is missing? We've seen the precision. We've heard what mainstream archaeologists admit they don't know. Everything I've shown you is documented, measured, peer-reviewed. The H-blocks exist. The precision exists. And the mainstream scientific explanation? Techniques unknown to us at this time. But what if there's another explanation? What if the question we've been asking is wrong? What if they didn't carve these stones at all? In 2017, Joseph Davidovits, a materials scientist who pioneered research into geopolymers' ancient forms of concrete, published research on Puma Punku's stones. He analyzed samples of the andesite blocks and found organic matter inside them. Why is that strange? Because andesite is volcanic rock formed from cooling magma. There should be no organic material. Geologically impossible, unless the blocks aren't natural stone, unless they're geopolymer. Ancient concrete poured into molds. Davidovitz published in peer-reviewed journals. Materials Letters 2019. He documented the organic compounds, showed the chemical composition doesn't match local quarries. His theory: the builders didn't carve these stones. They created a geopolymer mixture using crushed stone, plant extracts, and binding agents, then poured it into molds. That explains the precision. Molds give you identical pieces, perfect angles, smooth surfaces. It explains the mass production. Make a mold, pour, harden, repeat. It explains why blocks look so similar. Same molds. Bolivian legends talk about a plant that could soften stone. Researchers dismissed this as mythology. But what if it described a chemical process for creating geopolymer? The geopolymer theory is still debated. Most archaeologists still believe the blocks were carved. The research is recent, but it's published, peer-reviewed, based on actual chemical analysis, and it offers a rational scientific explanation. Not aliens, not lost super-civilizations, just chemistry. Ancient people who understood materials science in ways we're only now rediscovering. The Tiwanaku civilization built Puma Punku around 536 to 600 AD. They were sophisticated. Urban planning, metallurgy, organized labor. Some techniques can be explained. Smooth surfaces? Achievable. Basic shaping? Possible. But we don't know exactly how they achieved those sharp 90-degree interior angles. How they mass-produced identical H-blocks with such consistency. How they transported 131-ton blocks uphill at 12,800 feet. Whether the geopolymer theory is correct. We have theories, possibilities, but not definitive answers for everything. And that's okay. This is how science works. Study evidence. Test theories. Admit what you don't know. Keep investigating. The Antikythera mechanism, real. The mystery is how they made something so sophisticated 2,000 years ago. Baalbek's 800-ton stones, real. The mystery is how ancient people moved them. Nan Madol, 750,000 tons of basalt, real. The mystery is who built it, how and why. Puma Punku fits the same pattern. The stones are real. The precision is measurable. The mystery is how they achieved it. Maybe they had stone-working techniques we haven't rediscovered. Maybe they used geopolymer technology. Maybe there's an explanation we haven't thought of. But the evidence demands an explanation. Not mystery for mystery's sake, but genuine questions. Honest admission from researchers they don't have all answers. Recognition that ancient people were far more sophisticated than we give them credit for. Are the stones of Puma Punku impossible? No, they exist. They were made somehow. Do we fully understand how? Not completely. We have theories. Some techniques proven by experimental archaeology, but those sharp angles, the identical blocks, the precision, those still puzzle researchers. Is the geopolymer theory correct? Maybe. The research is published. The evidence is documented. But it's still debated. What we know, the Tiwanaku civilization was sophisticated. They understood engineering, achieved precision that impresses modern researchers. They left behind evidence that raises genuine questions. Not questions requiring aliens or magic, just questions requiring honest scientific investigation. Remember what I said at the beginning? The evidence is undeniable, but the explanation is missing? After everything we've seen, here's the truth. The evidence is undeniable. The explanations we have, whether lost techniques or ancient chemistry, show how capable our ancestors really were. The people who built Puma Punku were doing something extraordinary. At 12,800 feet, with Bronze Age technology, achieving machine-like precision. That doesn't need supernatural explanations. That's just evidence of human brilliance. The stones of Puma Punku are making a statement. Don't underestimate what ancient people could achieve. Maybe it's time we listened. Thanks for watching. If you want more videos about ancient mysteries, backed by actual evidence, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let me know in the comments, Do you think the geopolymer theory explains Puma Punku? Or are we looking at lost stone working techniques?